Joining me today in our conversation is Duncan le Grange. He's the fund manager for the Westbrooke Stack, or student accommodation business. We're going to be talking a little bit around the investment rates in the Stack funds and, excitingly, announcing a new transaction that we've recently concluded in the strategy. Duncan, it's good to have you.
Thanks, Dino.
Maybe to start, for those of you who aren't familiar with Westbrooke Stack is effectively a 900 million rand Section 12J compliant strategy that Westbrooke manages, where effectively we co-invest alongside best-of-breed student accommodation operators around South Africa in their accommodation businesses through a Section 12J compliant structure. That allows you as an investor not only to gain exposure to the student accommodation sector, but also to get a 100% tax break for doing so. Those investors who are still interested in coming in, 30 June is your last opportunity to invest in Section 12J. But today the conversation is a little bit more around the funds that we've already raised. Maybe, Duncan, to start right at the beginning, we've concluded a big new acquisition. Tell us about it.
Yes, great. Thanks, Dino. Yes, we've recently concluded agreements with the Abacus group to invest into 3 different student developments in Stellenbosch, each investment being 50 million rand, with 50 million rand coming out of the 2018 fund and 100 million rand coming out of the 2019 fund. The Abacus group is led by Jacob Windal, Niels Howard, and David Luddett, and they're a highly experienced development group based in Stellenbosch, who've done several developments across retail, office, and residential. Now, each of these 3 developments is going to operate under the MySpace brand: MySpace Paradise, MySpace Dorp Street, and MySpace Droste, and it's going to cater to the private students attending Stellenbosch University. It's going to provide the highest quality accommodation in Stellenbosch, with a development cost of approximately 600 million rand, funded by Abacus, Westbrooke Stack, and major South African banks.
Dunks, it's obviously a very interesting deal and sizable for the Westbrooke Stack fund. The one question I have, this is a development, and we in Westbrooke Stack have always been cautious, I suppose, regarding the taking of development risk. What has Westbrooke done to mitigate this risk for clients in this transaction?
Well, so Dino, I think, well, first of all, we're dealing with highly reputable developers, but the main protection is that we're only taking transfer of these properties once the development is completed. And in addition, we get an income guarantee for the first year of operation post-development. And then finally, the capital value is underpinned by the developers themselves, who are our partners. We're coming in at cost on the development, which adds a further protection.
Look, I think it's great to gain exposure to a student market as attractive as what Stellenbosch is. And I suppose, as we've seen from our existing portfolio, the properties that we already own there have performed well. Dunks, what does this do overall for the deployment rates within the Stack businesses?
So, so before this deal, we were at about 60% deployed in the 2018 fund. Our target is to achieve an 80% deployment level within 48 months of investment. This deal will take us to about 73%, and we're currently dealing with legal agreements on another deal which will take us up to that 80% level in the Stack 2018 fund. The 100 million rand that we're going to invest in the 2019 fund will take that fund up to 40% deployment, and then thereafter we will invest the rest of that fund in 2020.
So, Duncan, we've got a little bit left in 2019 and then 2020 to invest. Obviously, the 2021 fund is a little bit different because that's an exclusive relationship with a particular partner where we already have a predetermined pipeline. But talk to me around the current Stack pipeline and what you think that means for the deployment of the remaining funds that sit in the business.
Yeah, so look, in order to achieve that 80% deployment level across all 3 funds, we need to invest another 240 million rand over and above the deals that I've mentioned before. So we're currently in term sheet stage on deals worth about 100 million rand, and we do have another 150 million rand in the pipeline. What we are seeing is that the uncertainty surrounding the student accommodation environment related to COVID is starting to settle a bit, and we are seeing better deal flow. So we do aim to have that deployment of 80% across the board by the end of February next year.
That's extremely interesting. Thanks, Duncan. I suppose in summary, this Abacus transaction really is transformative for the fund. We've got fantastic partners. We're in an extremely strong student location, and we've entered into a transaction where not only are we backing these great partners, but we've also got further underpins contractually from them, which I think bodes very well for the future performance of the funds and certainly will serve as a significant underpin to our investor returns going forward. That's Duncan le Grange. He's the fund manager of Westbrooke Student Accommodation Business. Thanks.